50s, maybe some of them in early 60s. So they sent their children to Baltimore to learn. The father in those years would be the equivalent today of a billionaire. This is in the 60s. And he says to the rabbi, he says, I'm not paying tuition. Hear this? Why? You have an obligation to teach Torah. That includes my children. If that's the case, I'm not paying. You ever hear such a thing? Man's not ashamed of himself. So the rabbi said to him, the executive director was a brother of my Rashid, says, you know something? If that's the case, you keep your kids where they are. They're not accepted. I will not have them yeshiva. You have to pay tuition. Nobody's going to underwrite. I'm going to go raise money from people in charity to support your children, to cover their tuition. Whoever heard of such a thing? Rava threw it back in the man's face. What are you talking about? Even kafinonly. You compel the person to pay. You don't want to support your children. Whoever heard of such a thing? Let them be the ward of the tzedakah. Amr Rabbi Loi, Amr Ish Lokish. A person who goes and he writes all his possessions to his sons, kol nechosov, right? He and his wife, even though he wrote it away, nevertheless, the children have to allow their parents to partake of the possessions. It says that what? That his widow is supported from his assets. Hu v'ishto. So hu v'ishto mi boy. When he's not alive, his widow is taken care of. So when he's alive, you mean to say they're going to deny him support from what he gave to them? He gave it to them. The Sholach Rovin Bigarte. Rovin had sent in a letter, Misha Mes v'niach almona ubas. Person dies, and he leaves a widow and a daughter. Amnosa dizonis m'nechosov. His widow was supported from his estate. Nisas habas. The daughter gets married. Amnosa dizonis m'nechosov. Mesa habas. What about daughter dies? Amrav Yudah ben achosish Rabbi Yosef b'Chanina al yodu hoyamasa. I had the incident personally. V'omru amnosa dizonis m'nechosov. Hu v'ishto mi boy. Right, the widow when he's not here. So when he's alive. Mao the same or Hosam who the what? She says, you would think maybe there's a difference. If his widow, she's a helpless woman. She can't fend for herself. But if he's alive, you say something, you know something? Even though you gave it to your children, you're capable, go earn your own keep. So maybe you should deny him and not force the children to give of what their father gave them. It says, Mao say Hosam who the Torah. By the widow, there's no one to fend for her, right? To go to work for her. Here, he and his wife are alive. Let him go provide for his wife. So that it says they legislated that what? That's not the case. That the children have to give of the assets that originally he had transferred to them. Do we rule this way or not? No. Wife is not an heir. Goes to the closest relative. Goes to the, what happens to no daughter? Goes to the brother. Goes to the grandfather. If there's a grandfather, goes to the brothers. There's a whole line of order of inheritance. The ksuba, and also she's provided with all her needs. That's part of Tanai ksuba. You know, her residence, her clothing, her food. That's all provided from the estate. Yeah, but let's say she wrote over all his assets before he died to his children. That's what we're talking about. So that's not Tanai Ksuba. Nevertheless, they have to support her. Because just as when he was alive, if he would have done that, they have to support the parents, because the assets came from them. Even when he dies, they still have to support the wife. That's what they said. That's what they legislated. No. Shmirams, no, of course not. She has a husband to provide for. Yeah, but here we're not speaking that. We're speaking where he wrote, he transferred all his assets to his children before he died. So there's no lien. It's not part of the estate. What? It's not her children. It doesn't have to be her children. It's the husband's wife. They're obligated, yeah. Hilchak Avosile Toshma, the Reb Chanina, Reb Yonasan V'Kaimi, also Gavro, Gochen V'Nashke, the Reb Yonasan Akara Yiddish. Reb Yonasan, Reb Chanina, Reb Yonasan, they were there. This person comes, and he kisses the feet of Reb Yonasan. Omalei Reb Chanina, my height. What's going on over here? Why is he giving such covet to, right? Yeah, what did you do that you deserve such covet from this man? My high, Omar Kosim the Chos Lebonov. Who? He had written all his assets to his children. Vasatinu Lezoneg. Yeah, and I forced them, and they didn't want to support their father. And I forced the children to support their father from the assets that he had written over to them. If you tell me that's not the halacha, therefore he had to force them. Because legally, the father had no claim. But if you tell me that it's the din, what do you have to force them? If a person owes you money, you have a right to take the money. He owes you. So evidently, we see from Rav Chanina's, from Rionason's behavior, that why did he? Because legally they didn't have to give. They didn't have to give the father. It's only he convinced them and said it's unacceptable. So we see the halacha is not this way. So Tosas says that astino has to be words. Before we had an expression kafinu. Remember we had the question where actually he compelled them. So it was a question, was it with words or was it with that physically? So Tosas says over here, astinu means with words. Because if the halacha is not like, right, we don't rule this way, where do you have a right to physically force them? So that means he berated them. And due to the berating them, that's the reason why they did it. They didn't have to listen. He couldn't force them. Omer B'lo, B'ushe Skinu, Hamavazi is out. This very famous Gemara. This was doing today in the Chofetz Chaim, in the Avos Chesed. It's the whole thing with the Rambam. B'ula, B'usha, Hiskinu, Hamavazi, Alivazis, Yosef Chomesh. Now, what is the connotation of Yivazves? That if you squander your money, you do generously, you want to be generous regarding tzedakah, you should not give away more than 20%. So what is the connotation of generous? Right? Generous means you have no obligation, meaning you have no obligation to give more than 10%. 10% is meiser. But if you're generous, so giving 20% is being generous. He cites the Yerushalmi says it's a chiyuv. 20% is a chiyuv. Is an obligation. So how do you reconcile the Bavli and Yerushalmi? No. Here it seems to be the Vazves it's admirable. Even if you want to be generous, don't give away more than 20%. Okay, so the reason is because ultimately, by giving away too much, you can become poor yourself. So it's acting irresponsibly. The Yerushalmi says you're obligated to give 20%. I mean, if you can. You can afford it. So she goes and shows the Chofetz Chaim, the Rambam rules that like this, that a person has the ability to give 20%, and the poor people in the community who don't have what to eat, who cannot afford to clothe their nakedness, then giving 20% is an obligation. Why? Because the Torah says regarding tzedakah, it says Dei Machsoro. You must satisfy his lack. And he says, there's a halacha in Moshe Sinai that even though the Torah says you have to provide for the poor man's needs, what's lacking, the halacha of Sinai is not more than 20%. The obligation is not more than 20% as an obligation. What about if you have no poor in the community? People have what to eat. There are other mitzvah needs. People have to get married. A person can't afford to make a bris, this and that, but that's not a poor person. It's a mitzvah need, but it's not a poor person. That's considered you being generous. If you give more than 10%, that's being generous. It's admirable. Meaning, if there's a pressing need, poor, then it's a chiyuv. But if there's not, you don't have the pressing need, meaning you have to go seek out poor people, wherever they are, but they're not obvious, that's admirable. Tanya Namihochim, Vazveis, Alivaz Yosef Bechome. Shem, why? It says, Shem Yitztorach Lebrios. Because if you give away too much, you may become yourself the ward of the community. There was a person, he wanted to give more than 20% away. And his colleague would not allow him to give away more than 20%. Who's his colleague? Rabbi Yeshevov. We're talking about an Amora. Rabbi Yeshevov, Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yeshevov wanted to give away more than 20%. Rabbi Akiva didn't let him. It's one he didn't let him. Because he's his buddy. It's because he shouldn't do it. Because, as it says, Shemioni, because he may become poor himself. Where do we see that you should not give away more than 20%? Where do you see? What is the base of 20%? It says, who said this? Right? Yaakov says, whatever you give to me, he says, aser asrenu. He's reiterating the word aser. Ma'aser says twice. Vol lodomi isura basu isura kama. Right? The second 10% is less than the first 10%. Correct? Omar Rav Ashi asrenu lebasro kikama. Meaning what Yaakov said, I will give the second 10% will be the equivalent. No. Will be the equivalent of the first 10%. So he's giving really more than 10% of what's left. He's taking 20% from the whole. It's interesting. So Chaim brings Al-Pi, according to he cites the Shita Mukabetzes here. In the footnote, he cites a Zohar, that the Zohar says that when you give Meiser sustains 1,100 worlds, 1,100 heavens on a spiritual level. That's the impact of Meiser when you give 10%. So he says, as we know, 10 is a significant number. He says when you give 20%, you should give 10 and 10. You shouldn't give 20%. There's an inyan that it should assume the identity of 10. 10 itself has value. So it should be 10 and 10, not 20%. Okay? Omer Avsimi Barashi Ushmuas Halolu Mismatos Vaholchos. Yeah. So originally it's 20%. Take the 20%, divide it in half. That's the way you distribute it. You distribute it 10 and 10. So he says these statements, mismatos v'holchos. V'simonoch tanim kosu ubizbezu. So Rashi says, what's mismatos v'holchos? We had different levels of amoroim. You had great amoroim, you had less amoroim. So he says, the second one is second Rabbi Lo Omer Shlokish. Shlish is Rabbi Lo Luchudei. In terms of the number of people being quoted. We start from the greater number. First is 3 people being quoted. So-and-so name is so-and-so name is so-and-so. Second one is so-and-so name is so-and-so. The last statement is what? Is just one. Omer Rabbi Lo said. Omer Rabbi Yitzchak v'simonoch ktanim kosv bizbezu. Yeah. Omer Rav, so the least of them, because Rabbi Lo is the one who's quoting. So he's the least. He's quoting Reish Lakish, quoting the other one. Omer Rav Yitzchak Bushe skinu she'odem is galgalim beno at shtemes reishana. You hear this? A person should be supporting a son till he's 12 years old. I mean, you're involved with him till he's 12. Kanveilach yorim ulchayov. From 12 beyond that, then he what? Then he forces him. I mean, until 12, you go easy with your child financially. After 12, it's Yorim Milchayev. You force him to fend for himself. Ini v'omale Rav the Rav Shu. Imisar v'lumo yigal limo benachas v'dvorim rakim. Right. Learning. Afterwards, it's what Rashi says. Even if you have to take a whip, you whip him into shape. Right? I'm working on Howard. Howard, well, you okay. Kavel chirim l'chayv. Ini v'omale Rav the Rav Shmuel bar Shilas botzim mi bar Shis lo takbil. Yeah. Bar Shis kabil v'sofi le ketura. Meaning, until he's 6 years old, don't pressure him. I mean, don't scream at him. From 6 and onward, you stuff him like an ox. An ox doesn't want to eat. You force it down, then you force feed it. Yeah, so Sophie like a Torah, mean you put the pressure on him. But miwen yorod l'chayev, but to real ad lach 12 shom until he's 12, a year before his bar mitzvah, then you turn the screws. Until then, you put pressure, but you don't turn the screws. Vibos emo lokashu holy mikro holy mishnah. This is the difference. There's a difference in chumash and mishnah. Domer abayi omer liyem barshis lemikro. When a child is 6, you start teaching the chumash. Bar eser lemishnah. But pleisar the tanesa. When does a child start fasting? When he's 13. Okay? What? Yeah. Ubitzinokis, and if she's a female, bas tresa when she's 12. Omer Abai Omer Liyem Hai Bar Shis the Torka Le Akravo. Yeah, Biyom de Mishla Shis Lochai. A child who's 6 years old who was bitten by a scorpion on the day the Mishlam Shis when he was alive 6 years, meaning before his 7th birthday. Right? Is that Yom de Mishlam Shis? Wow. Rashi says something interesting. It says a girl is what? He says, why a girl when she's 12? I think this is speaking before bar mitzvah. A boy, he's fast 24 hours in his 13th year. That means he's not 13, he's not bar mitzvah yet. But Rashi says, but if a girl when she's in the 12th year, why? Why? He says, she meheres lahavi koach. Yeah, this, a woman has greater strength. Why does a woman have greater? She'ena mateshes koch b'limad Torah. It says Torah is matesh koch shalom. When you study Torah, it weakens you. So since a boy studies Torah, and a girl, even as a minor, and a girl does not, so she has greater stamina to be able to withstand the fast. So therefore, she starts fasting a year earlier than a boy. V'tarti sorry to kamar shnas shtei mesrei. We're talking about in the 12th year. She's not bar bas mitzvah yet. The bashtem esrei v'yomechu doraisi. She has to fast. It's on a Torah level. She mevish tei cyrus a bas onshin a tzorchlo lumod mikosu shel abaye from the nursemaid of his mother. We have to learn this. It's halacha. So we mean in the 12th year. Yeah. So Rashi says when it says if a child is bitten before he's 7, the day that he finishes his 6th year. He's not, so Rashi, that's without medication. Without medication. He says, before beduka. Unless it's a proven drug, he's not recovering. He's going to die, the child. Okay? Yeah. What is the medication? What is the antidote for it? Mirarto de dade chivarto b'shichro nashpe v'nashkiyo. Yeah, what is this? You take rega morishel dayo shekorin. Yeah, you take what's his name? You take the gall of a certain type of bird. Dayo is a type of bird. I think it's a crane. What does he say? White vulture. It sounds interesting. Okay. So what do you do? You take its gall and you smear it. You smear it all over his body, and then you tishkenu mimenu b'shecher, and then you give him beer to drink. Okay? Rega. The dayo chivirto, a white dayo b'shichro, together with beer v'nishafyo v'nashke. He should be smeared with it and drink from it. Hai barshit the Torah kle zibura. What about if he's bitten by zibura? Zibura is a bee sting. B'yom of the Mishnah Shato, before he's a year old. A child before he's a year old is bitten by a bee, lo chayi. The child's not going to survive. Maya suse, atsusa de diklo b'mayo, nishvi v'nashkei. You take the there's a certain type of vine that grows around the what's his name tree, around the palm tree. You take it, again, you smear it on the child, and you give him to drink with water. Mayo nishvifei v'nashkei. Omer av ketino kolamachlis is below postim and sheish Rotza achrov, beinu magio. Yeah. A person who started to teach his child before he's 6 years old, the child is going to be so advanced that you're not even be able to be the equivalent of your child. Rotzvein magio. Rashi says, labroso lachioso. E magio, mesukenu, lomus, mirov chulsho. Meaning, if you start teaching Torah too early, you're going to put him in danger, and you're not going to be able to heal him. The child could die from it. V'tavayu isnu, cholish v'gomir. He's weak, although he's proficient. Depends. If he's a healthy child, you can start teaching before he's 5. It's the Gemara in Bava Basra. But if he's not healthy, he has like an ordinary constitution, you should wait for 6. You know, a child can be precocious. You start him too early, you can destroy the child. Just reading, there's a book. It's called. It's on different things that Rav Steinman said regarding chinuch, regarding different things. He says people make a big mistake. He spoke to many teachers. You know, he spoke at a teachers conference, and he said people think by pushing a child ahead, they're doing a favor for the child. Very often, he says if a child is pushed into education too early, he says it's like a person who limps. Once you start limping, you limp for the rest of your life. The child will never ever be able to compensate for the year that he should have been left as a child. So because children, even though they may be precocious, but they're not ready for many things. So he says he's never seen a child that we started him late, that child didn't succeed, or failed because you started me late. You always gain by waiting rather than starting earlier. That's what he says. So before he says the same thing over here. Omer Rav Yosef Bechanino. Yeah? A woman, she sold the nichse mulug. Nichse mulug, this is the asset she brings into the marriage. Okay? They weren't evaluated, so what the husband gets, all the profits, the produce, the rent, whatever it may be. And she sold it off when she was married to him. So you realize you can't sell something that's not yours. The asset is yours, but the profits belong to the husband. So, but she sold it when she was married to him. Right? Because what he's there, a husband inherits a wife. So even though she sold it, but since she sold it while she was married, she had no right. So the husband could take away those assets from the buyers who bought it from him. She wrote, I'm selling you these assets. Let's see, after I die, whatever she wrote, doesn't make a difference. Chazal, the Torah says, a husband, or rabbinically, a husband inherits a wife. So whatever the asset she has, if she owns the principal when she's alive, so when she dies, who inherits it? So if you sold something, you never had a right to sell. Ashker Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef Ravo Davi Koi Buchlusa Dusha. Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef found Reb Avo. He was among a large group of people. Omalei man more the Shmaitz Dusha. Who said that made this statement that the sale is not valid? Omalei Rav Yosef Reb Chanina. He's a Rav Yosef Chanina made that statement. Tani minei arboin zimnin v'domine k'mandaman chalei b'kistei. Hear this. He learned it from him 40 times. Rabbi Yosef Chanina 40 times until it was the equivalent being in his pocket. Okay? Second. Now it's interesting. My Moshe Zechariah once said, what's the so he studied from 40 times, and then whose statement is it's Rabbi Yosef Chanina until it was the equivalent he had it in his pocket. What do you mean he had it? You have it in your hand, you have it in your mind. What's your pocket? So what it was like money? So that's what he said, because what? Yeah, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah, so he said, although we rule Yushlu Naslo Yush, but yet regarding money, right? The moment you lose it, it's valid. No, it's valid Yush, because a person subconsciously is always touching his pocket. So it becomes so ingrained into the person, same thing, repeating it, command mulchum, that means it's something you don't forget. That's command mancha bekisa. It's like it's sitting in his pocket. Okay? Ashrei shomrei mishpat. Here, osit stok b'chaleis. It's very important. Fortunate are those who observe mishpat, justice, and they continuously do tzedakah. How does one continuously do tzedakah? I mean, how do you do? Every day, the moment of the day, you give money to the poor. So how does one do tzedakah continuously? This pasuk is a pasuk in Tilim, right? Yet if you support your family, you're doing tzedakah because you have no obligation, right? But you support them. Person raises a what? An orphan, a boy or girl in your house. That's osat tzedakah b'chaleis. You took on the responsibility to raise an orphan. Umasion, and he marries them off. He raises them, marries them off. That's osat tzedakah b'chaleis. From the Gemara, it seems to be because let's say you raise an orphan, a boy and a girl, then you marry them off. For the rest of their life, you're doing tzedakah. Why? Because the reason why they're able to function normally is because you raised them. So it's even beyond. Hon v'oshe bebeso, person has wealth, possessions and wealth in his house, and his righteousness is forever. Rav Huna Rav Chizda Charom is alomei Torah u'melamdo. Hear this? That's a person who studies Torah and he teaches others. Charam is a kosif Torah devim uksuvim u'mashin lacherim. A person writes Tanakh and he lends them out to others. They should be able to study with them. Yeah, it's interesting. You got it. The Rambam rules. What's the mitzvah of Ksifas Sefer Torah? What is there a mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah? Not the people, that you can learn it. You should have a text to learn from. So you see, it's the same idea. So if you write Tanakh, Torah Dim Ksuvim, and you lend it out to others, we're not talking about they should say Haftorah. They're using these texts to study from. So that's Hon v'osha bebeso v'tzidkoso medeslat, he lends them out. Rei bonim levnech shom al Yisrael, Omar Rabbi Yishuv and Levi, came in shebonim levonecho, kivein, what's this? How do you read it? No, what? Kevin shebonim, what's Kevin shebonim levonecho? Shalom al Yisrael. The lo osi lechalitzivim. What? Okay, v'shebonim levanecha. That's it. If you have grandchildren, it's shalom al Yisrael. Why? Because the halacha is, let's say God forbid a person's children die even in his lifetime. If you have grandchildren from them, right? When you die, when the person dies, his wife doesn't fall to chalitza or yibum to a surviving brother. So that's it. Kevin shebonim levanecha. When your children have children, Shalom al Yisrael, de chalitza v'yibum. Right? The woman will never fall to yibum. So she won't need yibum, she won't need chalitza. Rav Shua bar Nachmani Yom Akeim shebonim levanecha, Shalom al daini Yisrael, lo osil tzuyei. Yeah? If you have children, so it's clear, children, they divide the estate. You go beyond it. Family, they start fighting over the estate. Okay? A little different. Mikara v'kodim l'benachlo. Fine kids fight plenty, even over the Yerusha of the parent. But you can imagine if it's beyond that. This day he was appointed the Nasi. He had darshan this. He had lectured this. Yosef Kamid Rav Hamnuna. Yosef Rav Hamnuna Komat. Shem Shein Abonim Yorshim Elam in Akarka. Kachayin Abonis Nizonos Elam in Akarka. Just as the sons, they only inherit only from fixed properties, identically the daughters are only sustained, are only supported from that. What do you mean? What is a child's only supported from fixed property? And what about this metaltlin? Right? Also metaltlin. 1 second. I can't even. That's what I'm saying. What the sons, they inherit metaltlin. They don't inherit cash from the father. They inherit cash from the father. 1 second. So that's the difficulty here. The difficulty is that's va'avshu. Where is it? Rega. Avshali kuli alma. Yeah, the people, they jumped upon him. The Shavik Ara, who the Yarsi Bone, the Shavik Ara, the Yarsli Bone, they jumped on him. What do you mean? If the father left property, then they're heirs. If he left only movables, they're not heirs. They don't inherit. There's no such thing. We're not talking about an ordinary inheritance. We're talking about Ksubas bin Dichrin. What is Ksubas bin Dichrin? That he writes in the Ksuba, Fishtei Takonis, Halol Stig Necham B'Tanai Ksuba, Lom Dem Zumizu Ksubas bin Dichrin, Tanan Perk Mishoy Nosoi, Den Nigvis Min Amataltlin, did not, Afil Yesham Nechosim, She'en Lehem Achrayus, En Klum, Achesham Nechosim, She'esh Lehem Achrayus. Mutter al Shtei HaKsubas Dino Moser. Wasm for Shluchs Ksubas bin Dichrin, Nam Mishoy Nosi, Shtei Noshim. Ume'vakach Meis Huvi Somov, Al Kol Achs Mvakshim Ksubas Imon, Kegong Ksubas Imo, Ruba, O Shtei and Shovos, Pomim Shebnei Ha'achas Rabim, ובני האחס מועטים ואוסן המועטים מבקשים כסובס אימון ויחלקו ביניהם ובני השניו יאכלו את הכסובס אימון ביניהם ועליהם יקוח תנאי כסובה. אם יש מייסד דינור על שתי הכסובס שצקיים בו נחלו דאורייסה אלו נוטלים כסובס אימון no כסובס נעים ואם לאו חולקים שתיים. Okay, hear this. Okay. We're speaking about specifically if it's a regular inheritance from the father, it's their father. We're talking about the dowry that the mother brought into the marriage. Who inherits that dowry? So if it's fixed property, they inherit. If it's metaltlin, then they don't. Wait one second. Omale Rav Yosef, Dilmuk Subas in Dichrin, Kom Amar, Omale, Mar de Gav Rabu, Yoda Maikamino. So he said, they jumped on him. So he says, you who understand what I'm saying, right? Rav Hamnun said to Rav Yosef, you understand, so that's why you're not jumping on me. Omer Rav Chibra Yosef, Rav Zon Michiti Dalio. Yitzom bo lefonov, v'tovus mizonis mechiti davien, shlo hoylem karkos el metaltum noslem. Hear this? Omer Rav Chiv, Rav zon mechiti daliyah. What's the Rav? What's the mean Rav? What does it mean Rav? How does he interpret it? Oh, he's saying over. Rav zon he allowed the children to take from metaltlin, which were wheat. Was it just to support them? And he gave from the from the best Shmuel, the Yom Shmuel, Parnosa Shomin Ba'av, Odil Mizoni Mamish. Havo, he covered their expenses. Yisomas Bolofonov, Vitovas Mizonos, Mechiti Dabian, Shloishim Karkos Lumetalton, Noselhem, Lo Mizonos, Hoyu, Ela Parnosis Nedunya, the Nosei. Was it to support them the daily fare? Was to provide a dowry they should be able to get married? Yeah, that was the question. When he gave them from the wheat, was it for a dowry? It was for the daily sustenance. So he says, Omaya Liya Diab, with Shmuel, Dom Shmuel, Parnosa Shomin Ba'av. For Parnosa to support them, you evaluate what the father has to support the daughters. Dum Mizoni Mamish Parnosa. Hava Umay Aliyah Midvorim Tovim Shenemru Ba'aliyah. Dom Rav Yitzchak Bar Yosef Ba'aliyah Hiskinu Sheivonos Nizonos Min Amatalpim. That the girls they get from the movables. Toshma Biode the Rabbanoi Achvo. The Reb Chia Barabo have metalplim the Yasmi. He had the movables of the Yasmi. Also coming to Shmuel Lam Ziluzon. My love, the Mizoni, he says, go support them. Seemingly means for food. Reb Yitzchak Bar Yosef Srilei Lo Hosam the Parnos Avoy. It was Parnos mean to underwrite the Nedunya. No. Parnos means the Nedunya. Mizoni means food. He says, no, there's no proof. That's mzonos. No, the parnosa. Shmuel l'tamei dome Shmuel parnosa shomim ba'av. Have a uvda b'ner do v'don daini d'ner do b'mediso. There was an incident in their door, and the dayonim, the bezdin of their door, the don dani d'ner doi b'pumediso, v'agve Rav Chona bar Bizno. Yeah. Rega. Lozen min metalplin. There was a question to take from the metalplin, and what did they say? Va'agvi Rav Chanino bar Bizno. Omer Rav Nachman zilu hadri. So he took, and they said, give it back. V'lo magvilul chula padnaichu minayu. And if you don't give back the money, I'm going to confiscate your mansion, to compensate, to pay back the money that you took. Yeah. So he ruled that what go feed them. Va'agvi Rav, Amalu Rav Nach Zilo Hadrulei, Vilo Magvinuli, Ravasi Ravami Ravasi Sova Lemezan Metalpli. Lemezan, you take from Metalpli. Amalu Rav Yaakov Aridi, Milser Rav Yochanan Reish Lokshlu Avdi Bo Uvdo. Aton Avdi Bo Uvdo. He says, yes, he says, yeah, they would only take from Karkos. This is what? For what? For food. From Mazonos. They took only from the Karka. And you're taking from Metalplin. Omer the fond of Reb Shimon El Yokim. Rebbe Yodea Ani Boch Shemidas Adin Atoosa El Midas Rachmonis. That you're forcing to give back the money, what you're doing is not really the halacha. It's your compassion, which is overriding the halacha. Eloshemo Yiro Talmid Viku Halacha Ledoros. Therefore, I have to protest it. What you're doing is the right thing to do, but it's not the halacha. You're dictating you should return the money. The fact that he had the right to take the money. He had the right to take the money. So that you're forcing him to give back the money, people will see this and say they'll think that's the halacha, that they have a right. They have a right to that money. The brother already collected, and he doesn't want to give back the money to support the sisters. There was no property; there were only metalplin. So he says you have to give it back, but we said before it's only fixed property. It's not movables. So he said to him, but he forced him to give back the movables. So he says factually, that you're forcing him is not the halacha. You have a right. In terms of tzedakah, to have compassion, the bezman could rule. But if they see your ruling, what are people going to believe? They're going to believe that's the halacha, that the girls have a right to take from the movables, right? Which is not ksubas bin dichrin, because it's only fixed property. Only from fixed property are they supported. But you, and therefore, the brother who took the males who took the movables, they had a right to it. But you're forcing, you said, if you don't give back the movables to support them, I'm going to confiscate your mansion. What you have no right to do. We ruled that halachas they can only take from fixed property. So what are you forcing them to give back the money? Right? So therefore he says, you're doing the wrong thing, because people, when they see what you're doing, they'll think that's the halacha. They won't realize it's due to your compassion. That's what he says. Reb Lozer Sova Lemezim Mitalplin. Omer lefonov. Yeah. Ravami and Ravasi wanted to what? To give for food from the metalplin. So Rav Yaakov Aridi says, Bilz Rav Yochri Shlokshlo Ovdu Bo Uvdo Aton Avdu Uvdo Rav Lozer Sova Lemezim Metalplin. Omer lefonov Rav Shimon Yokim Rebbe, he said to Rav Lozer, Ani I know what you're ruling now, that's not the halacha. That's not midas adin. El midas arachmanus. El l'shem you're a talmid of halacha l'doros. Who does the comment of Yosef Amalu? Havuli, havala, mitamri dal butcher. Hear this. He said, Rav Yosef ruled, give the girls from the tamarim that lie in the mat. You know, when they harvest dates, they shake the tree and they spread out a mat, it falls. So he says, give the girls from the dates that fell on the mat. The dates on the mat are that's metaltlin, right? Omele Abaye ilu bal chov havo ki agavna mi have a yoiv. Like, if there'd be a debtor when he collects the debt, you don't collect from the metaltlin. We're talking about the debt of the father. What liened? Liened is only fixed property. Metaltlin not liened. So here the girls, when they're coming to be fed, it's a debt. So if it's fixed property, so how could you tell them they should take from the dates that are lying on the mat, right? Ki agavna mi have yovle mar omele the chazli buju kamina. I didn't say the dates that already detached them from the tree. The dates that will ultimately be shaken out of the tree, those dates, they have, because it's still fixed property, because the dates are still connected to the tree. Mi have yovle mar omele no the chazli buju kamina. Akrovus ligdor vadain luchaboros. So what is it? So what I said was they have a claim to those dates that's still on the tree. The moment they detach them from the tree, they've lost. Sof, the Gemara says, kol omed ligzos kegozus domi. But if they're fully ripe and they just have to be detached from the tree, they're already seen as metaltlin. On that, the Gemara says, hello, did you get my message? We made up that we have the classes on. I didn't call Inga, but before they went on vacation, that was the